Cardiac rehabilitation, many paths to the same end. This is a talk given at NEMcon 2026 in Gokulam Park in Kochi, and this is a talk for you. So, the reality is cardiac rehabilitation is for anybody with a heart. Cardiac rehab has 4 phases: a post-procedure phase, the most commonly seen thing, OPD-based therapy, maintenance, and prevention, the later 3 that never really happened that well. And Kerala is epidemiologically like a Western country. The kind of diseases that happen here are much more common in Western countries than the rest of India. Economically, it's transitional towards a Western country, lots of money, not much manufacturing. And metabolically, it's very high risk, unlike a Western country where they really take care of their bodies. It's very much in this Trishanku Loka kind of state where it's neither here nor there, but definitely moving in the wrong direction. So you'd think something like cardiac rehab as a healthcare product would be really popular and take off quite well because there's such a need for it. In fact, we find that less than 10% of people actually go through cardiac rehab and even less complete it. And this is the reality of cardiac rehab in India. Now, Amrita Hospital has had a rehab program for cardiac patients since inception, and it's always been phase 1. So, having grown all our services to the peak, we wanted to do something new, and this is the next thing. Take cardiac rehab to level 2, outpatient-based therapy. So, of course, when you want to get patients, what you do is you go through the basic science, and you can see there is decreased mortality, decreased rehospitalization, increased quality of life, and cardiac rehab was class 1A evidence. So, all the more reason to do it. We went to our concerned colleagues and told them and said, hey, that's a wonderful idea. We don't need you. We're going to do it without you. And that actually turned out to be a very good thing, just because we found a come for 12 sessions of therapy. And it was access to the hospital that became a problem. So if the mountain won't go to Muhammad, Muhammad will have to go to the mountain, and that's what we learned. So to get OPD rehab services started, we actually had to do a little bit of technology work. So one of our university labs developed a sensor that would pick up lead 2 from the ECG and put into the cloud. So now we could remotely track the heart from a distance. And this is the device we made. You can see it's called Spandanam. And of course, it shows you the heart. It doesn't show you the person. So we added zoom. And pediatric cardiology really liked it. So they said, hey, let's do a study together. And we made the study, telecardiac rehabilitation for these adults with pediatric heart problems. And reality sunk in again. The techs who were supposed to put the sensors on people were not tech savvy. We asked people, what day do you want to have a program? They said, Sunday morning for sure. And then, because of fear of judgment, they would not put their videos on. So 3 out of 39 would come regularly, 12 out of 39 attended 50% of the programs, but many just wouldn't come. So it's easy to blame patients, but it's never the right thing to do. So we brought this famous person, Tinny Tom, to come and talk to them. And that was part of our motivation. So we told them we have a secret guest who's going to appear and he's going to give you a motivational talk. And attendance shoots up to 63 out of 39. And of course, only 3 videos were on, and 2/3 of the guests left once the guest was revealed and gave his talk. And what we found is, unless there's a celebrity or a doctor like myself doing the exercise with them, they're just not going to come and they don't care. I can't do it every Sunday, so I split duties with my other colleagues. And many of them came back to say, look, I'm just a doctor. I can't do these basic exercises. That's a bit of a problem. Now, change comes from within, but we can nudge it from outside. That stuff should be within. That's the problem. And that's the problem we're facing. So what you're seeing is a study that's going to publication right now. 39 patients were recruited, mean age 25, about half male, 74% were physiological grade A. So the best physiological grade, and they're like all of us. They can do stuff. 26 dropped out, but between the participants and those who dropped out, everything was similar. And those who completed did overhead walking met increased. The barriers that we faced when we looked at it were willpower, constraint with space, time, and fatigue. So the conclusion was yes, a personalized home exercise program can happen, it is feasible, and it does improve SF12. But of course, we did have these kind of problems. So we went back to see what was really going, what was the issue for these people. And we found is when we asked them, they said they were complaining about a program that was customized to their specifications. So they said Sunday is the day for us, and they complained that Sunday was not happening, meaning they didn't make an effort to actually understand what was going on. We gave them what they wanted, they still complained about it. Another group of people came back to tell us the doctor told us no. No, pediatric cardio told us yes, told them yes, I told them yes. They got a third opinion, and that doctor told them no, so no. And you can't argue that. For some people, they said it's just not in their normal habit to exercise. But in fact, India has a beautiful tradition of exercise, yoga, dance, mudgar, gada. There's so many things a person can do to make themselves better. But these are modern Indians. They've lost connection to their roots. They don't know who they are anymore. And that's why they don't believe that this is a normal behavior for them. Another whole group just had a fear of pain. And or they tried it, but they got some pain, or they didn't want to come in for pain management. So it was better for them to do nothing and possibly get worse than have pain. And this is what we found was a problem. Now, this is reality. And if you look at it, a lot of cardiac rehab studies that come from the West. So as doctors, when we say this, level 1A evidence, it's in a setting that's already designed for people to be their best self. So we can say, look at these Western people flying around, jumping here, jumping there, doing all these exercises. You should try it too. But the Indian, they know they're different. They know they're not the same. And it's terrifying for them knowing that it can mess up their entire week if something goes wrong. So it was back to the drawing board again. And that really helped us understand what was going on. Just going back to basics over and over again helped us understand, cardiac rehab is part of a bigger picture. All the real programs that go well, they aren't focused on exercises. They are basically addressing non-communicable disease. And NCD is a gang of villains, not just one, multiple people. Coronary disease, obesity, pain, mood, diabetes, they all come together. And then one comes in, all the others follow. So you can't remove one without addressing the others. And that's what we found. So we had to redesign our program accordingly. The failures we're facing boil down to three different problems. The first thing is we're treating health like a product. Here's your cardiac rehab. Come and do exercise with us. And that was the wrong approach. We had itemized healthcare into this product called cardiac rehab. And why? Because they had a cardiac problem, so we labeled it cardiac coronary disease, and then we treated it with cardiac rehab. We completely overlooked the reasons why it existed, why it was persisting, and why it exacerbated it. And then lastly, you could see some of our own doctors could not do these exercises, so the people preaching this are not even fit. And that's a real problem. Modern healthcare has degenerated into this kind of thing where it's a consumer relationship where the doctor keeps on offering different options to a patient. The patient can say, I like it, I don't like it. But once one rejected, there's another option, another option, another option. They just keep on coming up until the person has no options left, but they haven't really taken responsibility for the reason why this problem happens. And I think the real problem here is rehabilitation of all kinds is not like paracetamol. So the standard treatment is, I'm the doctor, I'm the expert, you do what I say or else, and it's not good for a patient. With all rehabilitation, physician like us, we have to take a different approach, and that's the coach approach. I'm a person who had a problem, you have the one too. We can make this better, but let's work at it as a team. And the issue, or the reason most doctors don't understand is because 95% of MBBS graduates have no exposure to physiatry. Hence, they order cardiac rehab like any other drug. Go to a therapist, do some exercise, get out of my face. And that never really works because it doesn't solve the reason why these people have a coronary disease in the first place. So how do we address it? The way to address it is lifestyle medicine, healthy eating, exercise, restorative sleep, good social connections, decreased risky substances, and stress management. The thing is, you can tell a person exercise, but all these things are linked together. Meaning, if a person isn't eating healthy, you can't tell them to exercise. If they don't sleep well, they're going to be too tired. If they don't manage stress well, they'll be fatigued mentally, so they can't exercise. If they don't have good company, they don't have someone to join in the exercises. And if they're doing unhelpful substances, again, it's going to prevent them from exercising. So this is getting into kind of a sticky domain because this is no longer really the domain of science. It's six pillars of lifestyle medicine, but what we see frequently on the internet is actually non-science. And by non-science, what I mean is you have someone who looks great behind the camera. What they are in real life, no one knows, but in front of the camera, they look wonderful. And we see these things and we think, I want to be like that, young and attractive and getting a lot of attention. So whatever these people say, people start to copy. And many times these are people who are in the peak of their life. So whatever they do is not going to hurt them. But if a patient tries it, they're going to suffer horribly. So obviously this is the path we don't want to take and we don't want to promote. But then what do you do? Well, as physicians, our core skill is taking a history, and that is the history I want to take here is motivational interviewing. It's an intervention that's based on history taking. What we do is we try to find out why these people have a problem. Because it's a behavior they have that drives them to do this. And then from there, they self-assign a goal for themselves, which will be a SMART goal, sustainable, measurable, attainable, reproducible, and time-bound. And from there, this kind of thing improves their adherence overall and it builds engagement. This is what patients actually like, a doctor who gets to know them, who knows why they do what they do. That becomes a person-to-person interaction. It's no longer just a stamp pad prescription. When we say this, though, the most common response is, I'm a doctor, I don't have time for that, I'm too busy. And that is normal also. So what we do is we screen for who needs this the most. And who needs it is people who are retired. They've lived their life, they don't really know what's next, but they're just waiting for the inevitable. They don't have any major ambitions. They're people whose kids have gone and made kids, or people who don't have much forward to look forward to, or people whose entertainment is basically alcohol, TV, sleeping, and no major goals in life. These people, by virtue of having nothing more to live for, higher things to work towards, start consuming things in unhealthy volumes that eventually make NCD and manifest as a disease to the point they're a burden to their own family. The last line, though, here is, as doctors, we have to be the change that we want to see. You can't just tell people to do this if you don't